Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Cleaning Green Initiative's YouTube channel. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to our latest interviewee for the Climate Heroes in Action series, Evan Michaeli. Evan Michaeli, 17, lives in Newton, Massachusetts. Evan has been an avid environmentalist since 6th grade when he lived with his grandmother in Newport, Rhode Island. During that 6th grade year, he participated in cleanups on Easton's beach with clean ocean access. The cleanups led to Evan passing a plastic bag bill in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. At the end of the year, Evan presented in front of 100,000 attendees at the ocean race about coral bleaching. After that year, he continued his work, leading the charge in the Dedham plastic bag ban, where he sat on a committee who wrote part of the bylaw and did research on alternatives to bags and the economic impact the bill would have. Recently, Evan was the leading force in a successful effort to reduce plastics in Newton, along with fighting for ocean rights and the SDGs at conferences at the UN and creating a bill to enhance climate justice education in the state of Massachusetts. In addition, Evan has won several international awards for his writing on environmental issues. Next year, he'll take his activism to Macalester College in Minnesota, where he will further hone in on his expertise in environmental policy. I had an amazing time interviewing Evan, and I know you're going to love this interview.
My name is Evan Michaeli. I am 17, almost 18. Next week I'll be 18. And I'm a senior in high school in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. And I do a lot of work with plastics, as I mentioned. Recently I passed a plastic reduction ordinance with the city of Newton, where I live. And actually, before I got on the call earlier today, I was passing out these signs for restaurants because it went into effect today, or not today, on March 1st. It went into effect on March 1st. So we were giving information to employees and for customers so they know about the changes we made to straws and takeout containers and all other plastic items that are more towards restaurants. But I do a lot more than just plastics. I also write a lot of opinion articles for my school's newspaper, The Gator. And I actually ended up winning first place in the nation for climate writing last year, actually internationally, for climate writing. So I like to get my voice out through opinions. And I am also on the working with youth on a education bill in the state of Massachusetts for mostly public schools, but we'll see where that will get us. That bill is currently in Ways and Means Committee, and I host a bunch of different events. At my school, we're working to do some things out of school. We're hoping to host a larger movie festival and panel in April or May, probably May, with some economic professors, environmental professors, and business owners. And I can't forget, I was also invited to the Ocean Summit and the SDG Action Weekend in September of 2023.
So you seem very, very passionate about the issue of environmentalism, obviously. How did you decide that this was sort of what you wanted to do? What led you to environmentalism? Or also, what was the first action that you took in sort of the environmentalist space?
Yeah, so I should start before then, which was in 5th grade. In 5th grade, I was really was abused by my classmates. I was bullied, and it was tied to anti-Semitism because I am Jewish. So I had to go through that, and my parents decided I needed to change. So I ended up living with my grandmother in Newport, Rhode Island for the year, and I went to school there. And my school was right on the water. I could see the beach from my Spanish classroom. Being there, but my science class, we would do a pickup every month of the beach, where we were. And we would do that with an organization that sadly no longer exists, but that I remember really, having a great, relationship with. And we would pick up on the beach, and it was January, and we've been doing this for a few months now. And we went down to the beach, and it looked clean, but after 30 minutes of picking up, we ended up picking up 59 pounds of trash, which was way more than what we had picked up before. And like 59 compared to what I hear now is still nothing. But for someone who, we were at 8-9 pounds of trash up to 59, it was like, oh, this is really an issue.
Right.
And then our teachers, we ended up actually turning that into learning about plastics and the issues of plastics. And we were assigned to make infographics for the school because they wanted us to present at Portsmouth Town Hall because they were working on a plastic ordinance at the time, plastic bag ordinance. And I went. I was one of 3 students who went. And then they had another meeting after that, and I was the only student there. And they passed it 6-1.
Wow.
And I realized that at that point I could make a difference.
Yeah, so it sounds like you got involved with environmentalism at first, like as a part of your local community and specifically like your school. So what recommendations do you have for others who might want to take like the first steps in their environmental activism journey, but maybe they don't have that same sort of environment or they don't know where to start?
It's funny because yesterday I was running interviews with other environmental activists in Massachusetts. And I asked this question. It was to them as well. And my answer is pretty much what they gave me as well, which is first find organizations that are around you. I am part of several organizations, Planetary Alliance and Captain Planet Foundation, which is an NGO. I am the leadership of that, but they're a great organization. I'm part of the Massachusetts Youth Climate Coalition, which is a bunch of different youth and organizations around Massachusetts that are this coalition, and they do a lot of work on education and on policy. It really find organizations in your area. You will find plenty of organizations who are interested in, say, environmentalism or any issue for that matter. Just really go online, look at who is doing something, and you can really find a lot of different people. Another note is that another you can do is call legislators. It is a big thing is to get into that action of, especially policy wise, is to lobby for your legislators, and to find an issue that you're interested in and to find a way to make your voice known about that.
A lot of times the reasons why people might want to get involved with the movement in the first place is because they are affected by environmental anxiety or eco-anxiety about the state of our planet. So what message would you give to climate activists or youth who are affected by eco-anxiety? Or also have you experienced eco-anxiety yourself at any point?
In a past article I wrote that fear should not be a deterrent to action, but something that drives it. So the fear of, our planet not, really going, south. I think that for youth activists who are worried about that, they can channel that fear into, greater action. That's kind of what I did with my anger, is I kind of used my anger and fueled that and used that to become more passionate about the environmental movement, which is another thing that I think is a big thing, is compassion and kindness. Learn how, or to, exhibit further and greater kindness. I think that there's a lot of things around kindness and the environmental movement. My personal motto is be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and be kind to your surroundings. So definitely compassion, practicing that is something that people can do. And I think the biggest thing really is that to also realize that we aren't alone in this, but others are too. And that, when we really build solidarity around each other and, show compassion, focus on things they can do, and to speak up about these issues, I think then that's where, that's when our fear can be used as more of a, driving technique to really getting the policy we want.
Well, in regards to these issues, it seems like you're pretty hopeful then about like what the future holds. Do you want to kind of explain like why that is?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking about this question. It's like, well, while things really don't sound great, and while things, they were definitely seeing more storms, we're seeing more, we're seeing the impacts now, and, we need to take action immediately. And as much as I said, with, countries not agreeing and with countries not taking actions and companies not really allowing these things to happen, it really, you have to realize that we are in this moment where, anything that happens, that if one thing happens that's good, can change everything. And it's like a revolution.
Right.
And innovation. We have so much innovation at our hands now that we can use that to good. And we have great solutions too.
Right.
For example, with sustainable cities, we can put, an emphasis on walking, like the super blocks in Barcelona are a fantastic idea. There's more community there. They're focusing more on green spaces. There's more biking, more transportation, and less cars, which is fantastic. Seeing cities doing that. Adidas making these shoes that are always being recycled and never really owned by people. You have to send them back to Adidas and they go to someone new. Those kind of circular economy ideas as well. There are a bunch of things that are coming, and I'm really excited for that.
What are some of the misconceptions about like taking action like in those spaces that you have noticed or like that you would like to address?
Yeah, there's three. There are three I have. The first one is that it's not all about protests. It's not all about tomato soup and food. It's not all about mashed potatoes. It's not all about interrupting shows, plays, barricading highways. It's not all about that.
Right.
I don't do any of that. I take my stance through opinion pieces, as I said. I feel like that is a great way to push out my opinion on this and to make a stronger impact, because words have such a valuable meaning. And using your words to explain your thoughts are very important.
Right.
And they're really, really amazing just to have the way to show that also through opinion pieces and through video and through art. There's all these other ways to push out the movement, and that we harness in my club and in my school and in the areas that I work. It's not about protesting and, marching and such. And some of it is healthy, but when it gets to, the tomato soup, that's not really an accurate painting of, pun intended, I guess, of the environmental movement. The second is that environmentalists only focus on the doom part of this, which while is super important to the messaging, because it is important to share how terrible climate change is currently and is going to be in the future. It is also important to realize that climate change and climate activists also want a future that's going to be helpful, and without solutions, that is not going to happen. We're not going to see a future that we want to see without having solutions. So, having solutions that might not always be perfect, so maybe alternatives, but ways to, maybe help better our carbon footprint, or ways to reduce plastic, ways to, have a less of a impact when we are farming, that kind of thing. Finding ways to make our impact as little as possible, other than just, we're all going to die from this terrible disaster, which, is not true, but is also, important to realize, okay, coral might die. That's going to be a big problem to all these different people. with rain shifts, if AMOC does collapse, rain is going to shift. That's going to be a big issue in Africa because the rain belt is going to shift up north, and having that happen. Or in Maine, lobster is super important, and if waters are going to get too warm for lobster there, then you're going to swim up north. Lobster is such a big, profitable business for Maine. So,
Right.
realizing those impacts, but also saying, here's how we can stop this, or here's how we can reverse it or slow it down. Those kind of things are also needed and
Right.
are just as valuable in the activism space than just we're all going to die. And the last is that really, it's not really a misconception, but more of a frustration, is that while it's fantastic that some legislators like to show that they meet with youth, and this is youth, in general, we don't want to be a token for them.
Right.
And a lot of legislators and governmental organizations like to say, "Oh, we met with this youth," or as someone put it with me during an interview with me yesterday, and like saying, "Oh, we listen to youth," but they don't really. Youth do know a lot more than adults think we do.
Right.
And if youth are really going to pave the way to the future, then youth need to be more prominent in legislation. They need to be more prominent in discussions with governments, and we can only do that if we're seen as equal with adults.
So lastly, how would you define the term climate heroes? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so going back to the Captain Planet thing, Captain Planet Foundation has 5 elements. There are 5 elements to this. There is, let's see if I remember, wind, fire, earth, water, and heart. And I think those 5 things really capture it. And they're all representative of things, but the heart really does. The kindness and the ability to look forward and really pushing that through. I think that really is the essence of a climate hero, is someone who really takes to heart the importance of a cleaner future, but also kindness and compassion in a way to, echo for the better of all.
That's really sweet. I like that. I think that's like the first answer for that question where somebody's really tied in like kindness. Well, with that, you've answered all the questions. I just want to say again that it is such an honor to have the opportunity to interview you, and I'm so grateful that you took the time today to be a part of this.
Yes, thank you so much as well.